so the question really becomes, did you set him up? You played him. You got pregnant by the other guy, and you probably didn't know exactly who got you pregnant. You played him. That's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. He deserved better. He really did. We're gonna do a straight $15,000 for the plaintiff. Under these circumstances, you owe him the money. I don't care how you get it. Go out and get a loan, go mortgage whatever you have, but this man is gonna get $15,000 because this was not right.
The judge realized how she had played this young businessman, and she wasn't pleased about it. He was led to believe the child was his, which is why the judge ordered her to repay all the money he had spent.
We met about 2 years ago at a club in Atlanta. I don't normally go, but I did this day. For whatever reason, I did, and I saw her there. Of course, as you can see, she's very gorgeous. And so, I stepped up to her and I asked her if she wanted to dance. And then after that, one thing led to another. And we started, talking a little bit. After we started talking, find out a couple weeks later she's pregnant. Now, I don't know about pregnancies at the time, I'm like,
so
hey.
Clearly you all were doing more than talking.
A little bit more.
I mean, you weren't just talking and dancing. You all were doing more than, if a couple weeks later she says, I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
Then clearly this was a relationship that became intimate very quickly.
Yes.
Let's just keep it real here.
Okay.
All right, so a couple of weeks after you all started seeing each other, she is pregnant.
Before we dive fully into this story, I want to point out a mistake this young man made, one that I know many guys still make. I'm talking about getting to this level too quickly with someone you barely know. And to make matters worse, he didn't even use protection. Guys, don't make this mistake. It's just not worth it.
So we struck up a conversation. He's a really nice guy. And at the time I was on and off. I've been on and off with my ex-boyfriend since high school, but Manny was different. So we definitely connected in more ways than one.
All right, so you all started seeing each other, but you had been on and off, as you explain it, with your ex-boyfriend, and you all had been on and off since you were in high school. So this has been going on for a while.
Very much so.
So now you all connect, and 2 weeks later you tell him you're pregnant?
It wasn't 2 weeks, it was about a month, but that's not better either, but it was a very short period of time.
Very short period of time.
We jumped into it. He was definitely not a rebound, but a positive distraction from my situation with the ex.
The only reason she emphasized finding out about the pregnancy after a month, instead of just a couple of weeks like he said, was that she knew it would expose the truth of what actually happened. She understands that timing is crucial in this type of situation, so the goal is to play her cards right. I'm sure you can already guess what secrets she was hiding even before getting into a relationship with him.
All right, so now she says to you, I'm pregnant, and what was your response?
At first, I had hoped, if it was mine, that it would be, but I didn't believe it at first. We hadn't been together that long. We only had sex a couple of times, so...
Only takes once.
That's true.
So did you ask her that? Did you say, listen, is this my baby?
I did.
And what did you say?
That conversation never happened, Your Honor.
It never
happened. That's a lie.
We were very, very much together 85% of the time. So he initially, when we found out, was very surprised, as was I. So I went to him, as everyone would. So what do you want to do? He asked what was I thinking as well. And due to the fact that I didn't really want to, abort, we decided to have the child. So the question of paternity didn't turn up until after Isaiah was born.
Wait. This is a new relationship, and it never came up?
It never came up until after I had the child.
Oh, it did. It came up. Because we brought up the ex-boyfriend a couple of times, actually.
Did he talk to you about the ex-boyfriend?
Only
It's hard for me to believe that it didn't come up. That's what I'm having.
Right.
I'm really having a tough time believing that.
Right, but he also wouldn't have stood up and been there if he had any doubts either, which is why I'm telling you the truth.
So the ex-boyfriend was still around, and she honestly expected him not to question anything? What made it even more interesting was when she said that since he decided to be present, it meant he didn't have any doubts. But she's completely wrong. He's just a nice guy trying to do the right thing, and she knows it. Even though he wasn't sure, he still wanted to step up, just in case he didn't miss anything if the child ended up being his.
As far as this goes, he was concerned about the ex relationship only because he didn't want to go any further with me if it was still on, but it was very much off. When I found out I was pregnant, it was only Manny, and that was just what it was. And he had trust and faith in me, and the paternity didn't come up until after he saw the baby, and he was...
Two very different stories in here. So now, what was your attitude during the time that she was pregnant? Were you supportive? Were you excited? I mean, tell me what was going on.
I was very much supportive. You know, after we did have the conversation about the ex, which did happen, you know, I thought about it and I said, well, maybe it is mine. You know, she says she hasn't done anything with him, so maybe it is mine. It must be.
Stop right there. Did you say that you had not been involved sexually with the ex-boyfriend?
I never told him that, Your Honor.
You never told him that?
I never told him that.
It's so different. This is very different.
Can you imagine being in that situation? She's basically admitting she was seeing the other guy while they were in a relationship, which makes everything even more confusing. Just a few minutes ago, she was adamant that he was the only one she was with during that time. But now her story's changed. I just hope this young man learns from this experience and makes better decisions if he ever finds himself in a similar situation again.
All right, so then what happens?
So after the conversation about all that, and I decide, okay, it must be mine. You know, I decided to man up, do what I needed to do. So anything she needed, I tried to support her.
Is that true?
It is.
And, you know, we tried the relationship thing. We actually decided, okay, let's try and do it. You know, we're going to have a child, and, you know, let's actually try to work it out. From there, we just continue, you know, day-to-day stuff. We had separate housing, though. But if she needed, like, money for bills and stuff like that, I would help her out.
That's true?
Yes, it is.
All right.
And
I don't know if you guys got it, but he was her support system. He was the one who paid her bills. And I think that's what motivated her to do what she did. She knew he was a businessman and was doing well financially, so he automatically became the perfect target for the plan she had in mind.
then the baby came. After the baby came, it was maybe about 3 months in or so. I had finally I'd had enough, you know, family folks telling me, hey, you know, the baby doesn't really look like you. You might want to check into that a little bit more.
Yes.
Your Honor, it was actually, not to cut him off, it was actually 6 months.
Okay, so the baby's here, and people are saying, wait a minute, this baby doesn't look anything like you, Manny. And what was your response?
My response, and that was 6 months, not 3. I was taken aback, but I understood. He wanted to go. I did put up an argument because I was offended.
This has been the most unbelievable part of this case. She was still seeing someone else while they were in a relationship, and then has the courage to get offended when he started having doubts and wanted a DNA test. She can't be serious. How can she be upset when she gave him every reason to question it? I'm sure they wouldn't even be having this conversation if the other guy wasn't around. She saw his money, and the other guy couldn't provide. She hit the jackpot. Yeah, I think she set him up. She did several small smirks when the judge called her on it. I know she used his wallet to buy her baby lots of things. Also, I'm glad she still let him see the baby. But where is his real daddy? I know someone that passed away never knowing that his one and only daughter that he has with his wife was actually her ex's. She didn't tell the family, except one aunt, for over 2 decades. The fact that she's pregnant after a few weeks is a bit suspect. I have seen a similar case, and the judge said to the guy, once you sign that birth certificate, you have to take care of that child. Real crazy.
Why were you offended?
Because he made it seem as if I was possibly involved with more people than the possible ex who we had already discussed. So he's like, who have you been with? Like, this baby don't look like me, da 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 da. You know, I have a strong nose, all of this extra stuff. So I was offended, you know, and but I ended up saying, okay, you want to go? Let's go.
Well, before we get to that part, before we get to the part about getting the baby tested, because people are saying to you, wait a minute, Manny, this baby doesn't look anything like you. I think you need to find out whether this child is yours. The reason you're in my courtroom today is because you're suing for more than $14,000. Tell me why.
So around the same time that I was getting those rumors, I guess you want to say rumors from friends and family, saying, hey, the baby's not yours, the same time that she had got the surgery done.
What kind of surgery?
So the surgery she got done, she got a tummy tuck. I believe she got maybe some breast augmentation, and I think there was something else.
Did you have some surgery done?
I did, yes, sir.
And why? Why was it necessary for her to have the surgery?
Well, she said she wanted to make sure she, still looked about the same because of her social media influence. She noticed that when she was pregnant, that her social media followings, they kind of went down a little bit. And because I wanted to make sure she had everything she needed for her job so she could provide for a child, I made sure, okay, if you needed extra money for this, I'll help you do that. And when she presented the surgery to me, I said, okay, how much do you need? And then from there, she told me what she needed. She went for the consultation, and then we went and got it done.
Yeah. So we're talking a major mommy makeover. We're talking $14,479.12 to be exact.
Right. I was a boat.
This young man really found himself in a tough situation. And I honestly think she planned everything from the beginning. She found a nice guy she knew was doing well, and he was the perfect candidate to be the father of her child, and the one who would provide the lifestyle she planned to have. She even used the pregnancy as a way to make him feel guilty, so he would end up paying for those treatment. And it worked. She played him perfectly, and he fell for it.
All right, so now why are you suing her for this money today?
So I'm suing her because the money it was a loan. In my opinion, it was a loan. I told her that, I would give her what she needed so that it could help her with, her business, her job. I didn't say, hey, I'm just giving you the money. I'm saying, hey, I can help you out with this. And it was under the impression that this child was mine.
It made perfect sense. He wouldn't have agreed to it if he had known the truth. Since he believed it was his child, he was more than willing to pay for the cosmetic surgery she wanted. But everything changed once it was proven that the child wasn't his. He shouldn't be the one emptying his bank account, especially after being lied to. Now she needs to turn to the real father to pay for it. He's the one she should be seeking assistance from, not an innocent man who only wanted to support the woman he thought was carrying his child.
What happened when you went and had the DNA test done by Isaiah? What happened?
So when we went and did the test, they found out that Isaiah is now my son. Yeah, it hurt because, I started to form a bond with him. And, that it stirred something in me, and I realized I almost felt like I'd been played.
I think anyone can understand why he felt that way. And unfortunately, it seems like that's exactly what happened. The way things unfolded, it looks like she probably knew she was pregnant before even starting talking to him. And maybe because of his financial situation, he became an easy target. She probably thought he could provide a better life for herself and her child, but that's not the right way to go about it. I guess she wanted to choose the father of her child after already being pregnant, but that's not how things should happen.
And so the question really becomes, did you set him up? You played him. You got pregnant by the other guy, and you probably didn't know exactly who got you pregnant at first.
I definitely didn't.
But you didn't do what was right to tell Manny, this may not be your child. Because if you'd done what was right, you would have had Isaiah tested the minute that child was born. You played him. You played him. And had he not asked for the testing, which then you got, quote unquote, offended by, he'd still be assuming that this child was his. And you knew in your heart of hearts that there's a possibility that it wasn't. That's wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
The judge made a valid point because that young woman knew she was also seeing her ex at the same time. So it was up to her to do the right thing and get the DNA test done to confirm the truth and eliminate any doubts. But instead, she did the opposite. She wanted him to believe that he was the only possible father, and even got offended when he raised the issue. She acted as if he was making things up, when in reality, his doubts were completely justified. She knew there was another possibility. As the judge pointed out, she should have been the one pushing for the test to ensure the child was actually his. But since it was likely part of her plan, she did everything she could to avoid it. It took pressure from him and his family to get her to do it, and that dishonesty is exactly what the judge was referring to.
It took a toll on the business.
And what kind of business do you have?
I have a custom auto repair shop.
Well, you have to live with this. I think you set him up, but assuming for a minute that you didn't tell him the truth. He deserved better. He really did. And you got to live with this. I am going to enter judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $14,500. I'm going to round up the few pennies here. Should do a little bit more than that because the interest is accrued. We're going to do a straight $15,000 for the plaintiff. Under these circumstances, you owe him the money. I don't care how you get it. Go out and get a loan, go mortgage, whatever you have. But this man is going to get $15,000 because this was not right. And there's nothing further. We'll stand adjourned. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $15,000.
She scammed him and used the pregnancy to get the surgery. One thing for sure, nice guys always finish last. I agree with the judgment. The woman was just toying with the man's feelings. I pray he finds someone to love him. She probably gave him trust issues. I hope he learns his lesson. She's seen his finances and took full advantage. It was the right decision. He shouldn't be draining his bank account to pay for something he has no business paying for. This is something she needs to work out with the other guy. That's why I completely agree with the judge's ruling. You could see how the case affected her. She saw through this girl's plans. While he thought he was building a family, that young woman was playing her own game behind his back. But fortunately, the judge saw it for what it was and did the right thing. I just hope this young man realizes that we live in a world where some people will take advantage when they see an opportunity. Therefore, it's crucial to stay alert, especially when you're in a certain tax bracket, because that's when you become an easy target for those looking for a quick fix to their financial problems. So it's up to you to be wise and not let yourself get played.